When I hear the blues of the choo-choo, I want you to go too with me on the choo-choo. The day's here, so get near, see what I have to say. Get your stuff and pack up, 'cause we're going away. The sun shines, my heart pines for those glasses and cakes. You know that they taste good way down in the cane breaks. Forget cares and let go of your troubles and blues. Let's be gay on our way, let's get on the choo-choo.
Take your places for the first luncheon, please. Pass right forward. Premier service. Prenez vos places, messieurs, mesdames, s'il vous plaît. Mittagessen, bitteschön.
Hi folks, James here once again. A very warm welcome to you all, and you join me basking in the sunshine here, just on in a little picnic area beside one of my favourite trails, and it's one which I featured once before. I believe I was doing a review of the Ennerdale Flake, and I came to this very spot in fact, and but I'm back again, and the conditions are suitable for a very clean ride. So we've got the old rally out today, and I've been along to the station, and just basically enjoying getting out. And this is a lovely place to cycle off road. It's fairly easy going. Obviously, being a railway, it's an old railway, it's nice and flat, and it's just the thing. And so yes, it's the Brampton Valley Way, as they call it now, and as it suggests, it is a valley bottom railway, as it once was, going between the market town of Market Harborough, which is actually Leicestershire, and to my county town, which is Northampton, and the bulk of it is in Northamptonshire, and it covers roughly 14 miles, and the remaining restored railway, which there's not a lot of, but there's a mile or so of running track that is on the Northampton end, and it struggles along. It's one of these little places that doesn't have a lot of money, and they do what they can with volunteers and things like that, but it's rather jolly. And they've got I think they've got a couple of locomotives, not out today unfortunately. I was hoping to catch one in steam, but perhaps another time. But I think I've got some shots of it in its shed. But you could see basically the little station, and a few shots of the surrounding area. But yes, it's a lovely day. The sun has been mainly out. It's been a couple of cloudier, duller moments, but all in all, one of the best days I think we've had for a long time. So really pleased about that. So I'm kind of basically at the road junction. As you can imagine, there's lots of little lanes that cross over, and a few quite sort of fairly large A roads, and they were originally I think level crossings or smaller crossings. So I've come to the one which is sort of nearest thereabouts to getting back home by road. So and quite handily, there's a nice little picnic area, and it's just a job for a cup of tea, and I thought today a Condor moment in my got my little Bewley lightweight, which is what I normally bring out when I'm out on the bike, and thought I'd have today's Condor moment. So it's just delightful. So I hope you're all doing okay. I'd like to thank very much people for subscribing. I've had quite a few recently, so I appreciate that, and I hope you continue to enjoy what I present here. As I say, all you will see really is me taking along the camera and sort of shooting snippets of what I'm doing, just really normally what I do. I hope that's of interest, and generally speaking I'll have the pipe with me, and as you may well know, more than a few words to say as I ramble on as usual, but so yes, I shall endeavour to get a few more shots of this lovely day out and my little trip out, and just briefly before I go. A few more details about the railway. It was, as I say, built in the 1850s, as many were, and there's two notable tunnels, one of which features in the video here, and that's the shorter of the two, and it's quite an eerie sort of, not particularly pleasant. They're not lit, and the longer one of the two is really quite a challenge to get through. It's a little bit rough, and you've got to have some good lights, and it can be a little bit unnerving, but nonetheless good fun. So there's the two tunnels, which that is at the Market Harbour end, and quite often I'll go, because I'm not far from there, I will do a loop out, and there's a number of places you can join the trail here, which is great, and you can sort of do all sorts of interesting routes and drop on and off as you please, and so yeah, the railway, it was basically dwindling out, obviously after the 60s, and all the cuts by beaching of all the little lines and some fairly big lines, but for some reason this line here was kept open right up until the early 80s, and it was then that they decided to close it down, and it was just left, and then things picked up again in the early 90s, and they decided that it would be ideal, as people were using it as a sort of a bridleway and a footpath, that it would be a good idea if they could get enough money together to actually open it properly as it is now, as a right of way, and that's what they did, and it opened in about 93, I believe, or thereabouts. This is when I moved sort of not far away. We moved to this area, and I do remember when it was brand new and the amount of work that went in to provide a good surface, and it was just wonderful, and it still is a lovely facility. And there's quite a few features along the way that are still there from the railway, and often sort of speed along the path and imagine that I'm a great steaming locomotive sort of rushing through, and I should imagine when they blew the whistle it'd be reverbing around, because it's quite low down in the landscape, and you can imagine seeing the smoke rising above and coming out above the tree line in places, and I've seen a bit of footage of some parts. I've seen a local film that somebody had got of the train coming through a section down towards the station, which was great, but there wasn't much of it, unfortunately. So that was good. So yeah, generally a lovely place to be, and it's a great sort of public amenity. There are plenty of places you can pull off and park, and it's just ideal. And it's easy going. If you don't want to go far, you don't have to. And as I say, I've done, I think, thereabouts about sort of roughly 10 miles on the actual Brampton Valley Way trail, and from this point it's about roughly another 10 miles home. So it's a good morning's ride, and we should be ready for a spot to grub when we get back, and it'll I shall hopefully be pleasingly exercised and ready to go for the working week. So with that, I shall continue my Condor moment, and or actually several moments I'll be having, and my cup of tea, and I shall say thanks again for subscribing and viewing, and we look forward to seeing you again soon, and keep the cameras rolling, the pipes puffing. Cheerio.
and every band is playing.
We will sing it if you like to go. Cheerio, everyone, cheerio. Seems as though it is time we must go. Looking back, you'll find that we've left behind lots of happy hours together, so never mind. We'll be back in a while, cheerio. In the meantime, just smile.